Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the deadline is approaching for the Maine Democratic Party to submit a new nominee for U.S. Senate. We'll have the details coming up.
Plus, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office is seeking the whereabouts of an Eddington woman in connection with an infant overdose case.
And the Greater Bangor Daughters of the American Revolution held an event honoring veterans and members of the community. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you so much for joining us this Monday morning. We'll have those stories and more coming up, including the return or the arrival of Maine Maritime Academy's brand new training ship.
So cool.
We'll join that celebration. We also have a guest joining us later on.
We do. It is a lady from Newport that owns a company called Janelle Bags, and she's doing an event coming up that is donating some of those proceeds to a healthcare organization. So we'll hear all about that coming up very soon.
Sounds great. But first, to check that forecast, looking like a quiet day today. We'll see some clouds increasing. The big story is perhaps tomorrow, though. There's some concerns that a very strong system of thunderstorms will be rolling through the area.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go on this Monday morning. We have some heat moving into the area, so a heat advisory is up until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Tuesday, as well as a small craft advisory posted until your Wednesday at around 6 a.m. There it is along the coast. Meanwhile, this morning, just some clouds passing through. We'll have increasing clouds today as temperatures heat up, and we have warmer temperatures coming up later on this week, as well as some severe weather, strong to severe thunderstorms on the way coming up later on this week as well. As we do zoom things out, we do see some precipitation off towards the north and west. We will stay dry today with some increasing clouds and breezy conditions coming up as well. All right, for today, we do have sunshine to start things off, increasing clouds coming up, some precipitation tonight, and then once we head towards tomorrow, we'll lose that. And then once we head towards Tuesday morning, some storms passing through, and then some more storms as we head towards Tuesday night. Those will be turning severe. The hourly forecast for today, all right, we're dry with increasing clouds. It will be a warm one with temperatures in the upper 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first in the broadcast, the Hancock County Sheriff's Department is investigating a woman's death in Otis. Authorities say they received a 911 call around 4:20 on Sunday afternoon, reporting a woman had been found unresponsive in Beach Hill Pond off Salisbury Cove Road. Bystanders removed the woman from the water and began CPR before rescuers had arrived. They continued those life-saving efforts when they reached the scene, but the woman could not be saved. She's been identified as 67-year-old Deborah Wedge of Tremont. Officials believe she suffered a medical event while in the water, and there's no indication of any foul play.
Well, the deadline is inching closer for the Maine Democratic Party to submit a new nominee for U.S. Senate after Graham Plattner withdrew his candidacy on Friday. Over the weekend, the party issued its call to hold a nomination convention on July 25th, and on Sunday they announced the process by which Democrats in Maine's 16 counties will choose delegates for that convention. According to Charlie Dingman, chair of the Maine Democratic Party, each county will hold delegate nominating meetings on July 18th or 19th. And these meetings will allow eligible Democrats to vote to choose the delegates who will represent their county at that convention, alongside the state committee members already chosen. Every Democrat who was registered at the time of the June 9th primary is eligible to participate.
This process belongs to Maine Democrats. We've established clear rules, equal opportunities for all candidates, and a transparent process that gives Democrats across all 16 counties a decisive voice in selecting our nominee.
The Maine Democratic Party plans to announce the date, time, and location of every county meeting by July 15th. Anyone interested in serving as a delegate needs to file a declaration of intent by 5 p.m. on the 15th, which is this Wednesday. The nomination convention will be held at the Cross Insurance Center here in Bangor.
Well, the newest candidate in the race, David Costello, who was just on the ballot for the U.S. Senate primary, was out collecting signatures in Brunswick yesterday. Costello ran alongside Graham Plattner and Governor Janet Mills back in June. Costello received about 8% of that vote. He was out yesterday collecting signatures from voters. Costello acknowledged that he was one of the lesser-known candidates on the ballot, but says that will not be an issue if he wins the nomination.
Confident in my background, I'm just not confident in the amount of knowledge people have of me. But I think whoever comes out of the convention won't have any trouble attracting attention, press attention, or voter attention, and the resources needed to challenge Senator Collins in the fall.
Costello went on to say that he believes he could garner the same support as Plattner if he were to win.
Well, quote, a vote for Collins is a vote for more of the same. That was the message from Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Dr. Nirav Shah during a town hall Sunday in Bangor as he continues his bid to become the party's nominee. While Shah may be a new entrant into the Senate race, the former director of the Maine CDC is already a familiar figure to many Mainers. Earlier this year, Shah mounted a bid for governor, leading the field in the early rounds of ranked choice tabulation before ultimately finishing second to Hannah Pingree in June. After Graham Plattner announced last week that he would withdraw from the Senate race, Shah moved quickly to position himself as a candidate capable of both uniting the party and taking on Senator Collins this next November.
What I am pledging and committing to today is to continue the tradition of open, accessible, and accountable governance, so that even when I am your U.S. Senator, that connection that we formed way back during very dark times does not get frayed, it does not get severed. And that is a promise that you all can take.
Well, since announcing his campaign last week, Shah has begun holding a series of town halls all across the state where he has emphasized his ability to both challenge political norms within the party and to defeat Susan Collins in one of the nation's most closely watched Senate races. Shah also announced last night that he has already collected the 500 signatures required to qualify for the nominating convention.
Well, in other news this morning, an Eastbrook man is facing several charges after authorities say he forced a motorcycle off of the road during a road rage incident in Franklin, seriously injuring the driver. According to the Hancock County Sheriff's Office, a crash was reported on Blackwoods Road in Franklin shortly before 11:30 p.m. on Saturday. Police said that the initial reports indicated the crash stemmed from a road rage incident in which the driver of a pickup truck intentionally struck a motorcycle, forcing the motorcycle into a guardrail. The motorcycle then lost control, left the roadway, and then crashed. Authorities said the driver of the pickup truck, later identified as 43-year-old Shannon Abbott of Eastbrook, fled the scene. However, witnesses were able to provide deputies with the license plate number and they were able to locate him. The motorcycle operator was transported to a local hospital and then flown to another hospital for treatment. The sheriff's office said that the rider remains in serious but stable condition. Abbott was arrested and transported to the Hancock County Jail. He's been charged with aggravated assault, reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon, aggravated driving to endanger, and leaving the scene of a personal injury crash. That investigation is currently ongoing.
Meanwhile, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office is seeking the whereabouts of an Eddington woman in connection with an infant overdose back in May. The Sheriff's Office has obtained an arrest warrant for 36-year-old Brittany Wood, who police say failed to turn herself in. She's wanted on a Class B felony of domestic violence, aggravated assault, and a Class D crime of endangering the welfare of a child. Authorities say her warrant is related to a thorough investigation of an incident where an infant overdosed on opioids in Eddington. That incident took place on May 31st. The Sheriff's Office says they've communicated intentions to arrest Wood to both she and her attorney, and they're asking the public to help locate her. Wood is listed online as a member of the RSU 63 School Board as well. We've reached out to members of the school board and the school department for confirmation, and we haven't heard back. If you do have any information about Wood's whereabouts, you're urged to contact the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office.
Meanwhile, a man from Maine is facing charges after leading police on a chase into New Hampshire. Police say it started at the Alpha Sports Center in Limerick early on Sunday morning when a man was spotted slumped over the wheel of the car. Officials say that the man took off when police knocked on his window and rammed a state police cruiser while trying to get away. The pursuit ended in Wakefield, New Hampshire, when the vehicle went off the road and crashed into a wooded area. 36-year-old James King is now facing a number of charges, and police believe alcohol played a role in that incident.
Firefighters are keeping their eyes on flames that erupted Sunday in Otisfield. That's where a woods fire spread to about 5 acres in size. That fire is now contained, but the fire department says the heat and dry weather could cause the flames to spread again. Authorities will continue to monitor it and are urging people to be cautious if they do have to travel in that area.
Meanwhile, the Maine Supreme Court has rejected an appeal that sought to place citizen initiative dealing with transgender athletes on the ballot. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows invalidated more than 1,500 signatures from state petition circulators. The referendum sought to ban transgender girls from female school sports. In response, Bellows said, quote, "Citizen initiatives are a powerful tool of direct democracy in our state, and Maine voters should have just as much confidence in petition integrity as they do in the security of our elections. This petition did not meet legal requirements for inclusion and therefore did not qualify for the ballot after our legal review," end quote. The Protect Girls Sports in Maine ballot committee says they disagree with the decision, saying in part, quote, "The Protect Girls Sports in Maine committee disagrees with the law court's decision and has already filed suit in federal court. 1,520 otherwise valid voter signatures hang in the balance. We intend to see that process through," end quote. While advocates for Maine's LGBTQ community say it's a success, Gia Drew is the executive director of Equality Maine. She said in part, quote, "All students should feel welcome and included at school, including trans kids, who deserve the same opportunities as their peers. Today's ruling from the Maine Supreme Court clarifies and upholds Maine's commitment to ensuring that there's a fair and just process related to citizen petitions," end quote. Well, the time now is 8:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a celebration was held on the waterfront of Castine to welcome home the State of Maine vessel.
We'll join them coming up, but first another look at that forecast. We'll see clouds increasing as the day rolls along. High temperatures today around 87 degrees. It will be mostly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms tonight, lows dropping down to the mid-60s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a chance of severe thunderstorms late in the day. High temperatures tomorrow right around 92. We'll be right back.
Lights, camera, cheese! The Cheese House is looking for its next star, and it could be you. If you're 21 or older, enter for your chance to appear in the next commercial. Stop by the Cheese House at 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield to enter. While you're there, browse their huge selection of glassware and 420 specialty foods. But we have the cheese! Remember, entries are happening in person at the Cheese House, 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield. Bring your personality, bring your smile, and we have the cheese.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
Come home to the kitchen of your dreams. At Atlantic Designs, we redefine kitchen spaces, turning your dreams into reality. Our experienced designers ensure you get a stunning new kitchen while bringing function and style to every corner. Whether you're on a tight budget or ready to splurge, we've got the perfect plan for you. Your dream kitchen is closer than you think. So contact Atlantic Designs today and start the process. Your dream kitchen awaits with the kitchen people at Atlantic Designs.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals by weight.
I have no idea.
Congratulations, you have built the perfect line. I'm Deborah Norville, and this is the perfect line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. Oh, this is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Well, big changes may finally be on the horizon for the Bangor Mall property. Our Alex Schley reports.
After years of uncertainty, The future of the Bangor Mall property is moving closer to taking shape. Mike Cole, spokesperson for the group working to purchase and redevelop the mall, says they've cleared what proved to be the biggest hurdle in the process and are now just weeks away from finalizing the sale.
Due diligence, yeah, I mean, that's everything from inspecting the building. It's every aspect of the property, inspecting the building, the title work. We got the lawsuit in the mix.
Cole says one of the biggest takeaways from the process was the condition of the structure itself.
I think that was one of the biggest surprises, is structurally that building is solid. So, you know, there's things that need to be updated, electrical and HVAC, you know, the exterior, things like that. There's a lot of changes that's going to happen there, but the building is solid. The foundation is solid.
While the process has taken longer than developers originally expected, Cole says clearing the due diligence period is a major step forward.
We're moving on to the next phase. Usually if something was going to fall apart, it falls apart in the due diligence period.
City officials say the redevelopment could have a major impact, not just on the property, but on the future of the Bangor area.
It has huge economic significance because the value of the property had been $150 million and now it's down to $15 million. I'm really excited by the local investors who are working very, very hard to keep this deal going.
The group has previously announced plans to include condominiums as part of the redevelopment. Cole says they are working with architects to create more detailed renderings of what the future of the property could look like, with plans to share those images with the public in the coming weeks. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, the Daughters of the American Revolution's Bangor chapter held a very special event honoring local veterans and community members on Saturday. The organization consists of local women who are direct descendants of Revolutionary War soldiers. In Herman, they gathered to recognize veterans with quilts of valor, handmade quilts awarded to those touched by war, to thank them for their service and also as a symbol of comfort and healing.
You know, myself and another female veteran in the chapter, and we were graciously awarded Quilts of Valor. It's nice to get recognition, you know, for the sacrifices that we made.
Well, additionally, they awarded a prestigious Distinguished Citizen Medal to Doc Goodwin for his work as president of the Maine Veterans Project. They also gave a $1,000 donation to that organization.
For MVP being an 11-year-old organization, to be recognized by such a prestigious and long-standing organization such as the DAR was very, humbling, very special, and it's truly amazing to show that people see what we do.
For more information on the Greater Bangor Daughters of the American Revolution chapter, you can visit this story on our website.
Well, after more than 2 years without its own training vessel, Maine Maritime Academy is entering a new era at sea. On Sunday, the university welcomed home the State of Maine, a $330 million ship designed to transform how the next generation of mariners train. Once again, our Alex Schley shows us why this vessel is considered a game changer for the Academy.
It's a happy day for Maine Maritime Academy.
The sound of celebration filled the waterfront in Castine Sunday, as hundreds of family members, friends, and faculty welcomed home the State of Maine, a 525-foot training vessel specifically designed for Maine Maritime Academy.
Train twice as many students at the same time, and Maine Maritime prides itself really on that hands-on education, that experiential learning. We still teach the old things, hydraulics, diesels, steam, electricity, the things that are intangible for any engineer, but we're learning the modern day ship systems, the electronic systems on these ships.
The State of Maine can accommodate up to 600 cadets and features a dedicated training bridge, navigation lab, 2 full-size engine rooms, classrooms, and a laboratory space, giving students the opportunity to practice the skills they will need before they enter the maritime industry. The vessel departed in Maine with more than 250 Maine maritime students aboard. The cadets sailed from Portland to Galveston, Texas, where they picked up 240 students from Texas A&M.
We did 3 or 4 days of lifeboat training down there. We sailed from there to Charleston, South Carolina, from Charleston to St. John's, Newfoundland, St. John's, Newfoundland, down south to Port Everglades, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and then sailed north to New York City for the 250th anniversary of the country.
After more than 2 months away from home, families say they're ready to have their loved ones back.
Daddy's excited to go here.
Officials say the arrival of the State of Maine represents a major investment in the future of Maine Maritime Academy, helping prepare students for the complex technology-driven challenges they face at sea. In Castine, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, congratulations to them.
Yeah.
They'll be using that for generations to come.
Looked like a great little celebration.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 8:20. After the break, overnight, the U.S. launched a new round of strikes at Iran. We'll have the very latest coming up.
Plus, dangerous heat and bad storms across the country. Those stories as well, straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Chevy drivers across America will do a lot in the next 5 years. But one thing they won't do is pay interest on their new Chevy. Right now, get 0% financing for 5 years on all 2026 Silverado 1500 models. With no payments for 90 days. Because you've earned this summer. Now it's time to go get it.
Visit your Maine Chevy dealers.
Critical investments are strengthening Maine, thanks to Senator Susan Collins. The biggest investment in our rural hospitals in decades. New investments for working waterfronts, like the breakwater in Eastport. Investments to help homeless veterans find housing. Investments for UMaine to train new doctors and nurses. Thousands of investments, thanks to the power of Senator Susan Collins. Call Senator Collins and ask her to keep delivering for Maine.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Dangerous extreme heat being felt by millions from the southwest to the upper Midwest today, with triple-digit heat expanding to places that rarely see such temperatures.
Elsewhere, storm damage cleanup is currently underway. Here's ABC's Hannah Battah.
This morning, a state of emergency declared in Philadelphia after fast-moving microburst storms tore through the city.
We saw utility poles literally split in half like matchsticks.
Straight-line wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour, ripping roofs off buildings and downing hundreds of trees, many landing on cars.
It was shocking because the car just got paid off.
In Missouri, at least one person is dead and more than 350 people had to be rescued after 6 to 12 inches of rain triggered flash flooding. Black Hawk helicopters were brought in to rescue more than 200 children and staff from a summer camp.
One of the cabins, you couldn't even see because you could only see the tippy top of the roof.
You just feel so helpless as a parent.
The National Weather Service calling it a once-in-a-thousand-years event. Parts of Tennessee and Louisiana also inundated. One person using a paddleboard to navigate the streets near New Orleans. Meanwhile, in the West, a dangerous heat dome is on the move. After fueling wildfires like the 2,700-acre Summit Fire northeast of Los Angeles, the heat expanding eastward, setting records from Utah to Montana. New all-time highs were set in Salt Lake City, where the temperature hit 109, and in Billings, Montana, which hit 111 degrees. International Falls, Minnesota, on the Canadian border, could see its first 100-degree day in more than a century. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
We're keeping our eye on our own weather system around here,
We
too.
sure
Not
are.
only is it going to get hot around here, it's going to get even hotter tomorrow. And then all the weather guys are kind of concerned about this weather system that could bring some very strong thunderstorms here. Tornado activity they're talking about,
wow.
big hail. So we'll have to keep our eyes open. Hail.
Hail?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. A heat advisory up until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. Not only do we have warm temperatures, but the higher humidity levels will make feels-like temperatures feel close to 100 degrees or so at times. We also have a small craft advisory up until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Wednesday along the coast. For now, we're calm out there, and I mean very calm. Wave heights not too bad at all this morning. Meanwhile, we do have some clouds that are passing through this morning. We'll have increasing clouds as we do have a boundary that will be approaching soon, and that will help to get some rain showers and a few rumbles of thunder that will be developing coming up soon. But again, it's tomorrow. We do have to keep our eye on for strong to severe thunderstorms late afternoon and the parts of the evening time frame. All right, futurecast. We do have increasing clouds for us today. Later on tonight, we do have some rain showers and a few rumbles of thunder on the way. And then for tomorrow, here's what we have our eye on. A morning chance for a storm or two. And then once we head towards the evening period, that's where the strong to severe storms will begin to pass through. All right, here's that threat. We have an enhanced risk for strong to severe storms. And then that threat drops off just a little bit, but still a slight risk. Either way, though, we have large hail, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes possible as we head into your Tuesday, primarily as we head towards late Tuesday afternoon and in the evening time frame. We need to be watching this closely as we head into your Tuesday. All right, we have plenty of moisture to work with too as we do push forward. Look at this through Tuesday. Dew points rising into the 70s, pushing forward. So for today, increasing clouds and breezy, upper 80s for the high, and that southwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. By tonight, mid 60s, mostly cloudy, a chance for thunderstorms with the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a chance for strong to severe thunderstorms late. Again, low 90s for the high, and that southwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. All righty, let's check out your extended forecast. Wednesday, a lot better, mostly sunny, highs in the mid 80s, more thunderstorms Thursday, highs in the low 80s, and then for your Friday, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 70s.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Did you know Susan Collins was the deciding vote for Donald Trump's Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade? And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. Because of Susan Collins, states are banning abortion with no exceptions for rape or incest. And women are dying. And she's still standing by it.
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins, stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
You hand me a trash panda! That was gangster!
It pays to choose wisely.
Wednesday,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. The U.S. conducted a new attack on Iran as both sides attempt to control the Strait of Hormuz. ABC's Karen Waugh is in Washington with more.
Overnight, the U.S. launched a new round of strikes at Iran.
An official says an American aircraft shot down Iranian missiles and drones that were attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Central Command sharing this video, explosions lighting up the sky. In response, Iran fired shots at U.S. allies Kuwait and Bahrain and claims it caused damage to an American base in Bahrain. During weekend negotiations in Oman, U.S. officials expected Iran to publicly agree to stop attacking vessels in the strait. Instead, Iran targeted American ships that used unapproved routes and ignored warnings from its navy. Now Iran says it's closed the strait until the, quote, end of American interventions in this region. But President Trump insists the strait remains open.
It's open. We bombed the hell out of them last night.
This recent escalation in the Middle East is causing gas prices to go up for the first time in about 2 months. The average cost of a gallon at $3.87 this morning, up 7 cents from last week, according to AAA. Overnight, the United Nations Secretary General saying he is, quote, deeply concerned by the serious escalation in fighting. He called on both sides to resume negotiations. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Well, now to the death of Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. His colleagues on both sides of the aisle are explaining why he was so effective in his decades on Capitol Hill. As we learn more about his cause of death at just the age of 71, here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
New details about the sudden death of Senator Lindsey Graham. First responders were called to his home Saturday night.
Cardiac arrest.
A preliminary report indicates cause of death was an aortic dissection, a tear in the main artery that carries blood from the heart.
It supplies all the blood supply to the entire body and all of our vital organs. When the aorta ruptures, it can be a fatal event. We know that these types of events occur with greater frequency as people get older, but also hypertension, high cholesterol, smoking are also major risk factors.
Graham celebrated his 71st birthday last Thursday and had just returned from a trip to Ukraine.
The sooner we can have a dialogue about peace, the quicker this war is over.
President Trump says he spoke with Graham Saturday, just before his death.
And he said, you know, I feel good, but I'm tired. He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually. People don't realize what a good politician he was. He could go in and get something approved.
Colleagues on both sides of the aisle paying their respects.
I am stunned when he would be in the right place at the right time. Man, he could get things done.
In Washington, Graham was a fixture in the hallways, quick with the quip, never afraid of a tough question, and famously low tech, joking that he was a proud member of the Congressional Flip Phone Caucus. His critics often noted the contradictions in his career. A one-time Trump critic.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
Who became one of Trump's closest allies. But those who knew him say those shifts were part of the man, a politician who believed he could only get things done for the American people if he remained in power. Graham was especially close with the late Senators John McCain and Joe Lieberman. McCain's widow posting this picture saying, Graham loved his country deeply and devoted himself to it every day. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll meet the owner of Janelle Bags, based in Newport, who's raising money for the Hometown Health Center.
A neat thing to do,
It is, yeah.
We'll be right back.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Craving something delicious? Welcome to High Street Market, located at 167 Enfield Road in Lincoln. Breakfast options? Grab a cup of coffee and try one of our sandwiches or burritos. When breakfast is over, we're just getting started. Pizza, subs, burgers, and pastries. Come get lost in Danny's Beer Cave. Order online and save 10% off your first order. High Street Market, where your taste buds go to party.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Monday, July 13th, 2026, and this is also Gruntled Workers Day.
Not
we always hear about disgruntled workers.
Right.
This is the gruntled workers.
This day invites us to celebrate the positive aspects of our jobs and careers. It's easy to get discouraged and to find things that are negative about our jobs, but this day challenges us to find meaning, purpose, and gratitude in our daily work. It's a time to reflect on what we enjoy, appreciate our colleagues, and consider making a positive change.
Yeah, nobody's happy all the time with their jobs, but you know.
It's good to find the positive.
Yeah, part of it's just having a good attitude.
Exactly.
So I love my job.
Yes.
All right, time for some history. It was on this day back in 1923, a sign with giant letters spelling out Hollywoodland was dedicated in the Hollywood Hills to promote a real estate subdivision. Had nothing to do with the film industry. The last four letters were later removed in 1949, and the iconic sign continues to be a symbol of the local movie industry. Now, they kept it. Now it's when you think of Hollywood, that's the sign you think of. 1930, the first FIFA World Cup was held in Uruguay. In 1960, President John F. Kennedy was nominated for the presidency. And in 1973, on this date, former presidential aide Alexander Butterfield revealed to the Senate's Watergate Committee that President Nixon had a secret White House taping system. And those tapes helped spur the president's resignation.
Big deal at the time.
Yeah.
And in 1977, lightning strikes caused a power blackout in much of New York City, leading to a night of widespread looting, arson, and vandalism. That resulted in nearly 4,000 arrests and became known as the Night of Terror. In 1985, some of the world's best-known recording artists came together to help fight famine in Ethiopia. They held a Live Aid benefit concert in both London and in Philadelphia, raising more than $100 million for famine relief. That's just incredible.
Yeah.
And lastly, in 1993, the Mexican grill chain Chipotle opened its first restaurant up in Colorado.
They've got good grub over there.
They sure do.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actor Harrison Ford, who is 84 today. Han Solo is 84 years old. Hard to believe. Rapper Lil' Kim is 52, and actor Patrick Stewart from Star Trek is 86 years old today. Happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go on this Monday morning. We have some heat moving into the area, so a heat advisory is up until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Tuesday, as well as a small craft advisory posted until your Wednesday at around 6 a.m. There it is along the coast. Meanwhile, this morning, just some clouds passing through. We'll have increasing clouds today as temperatures heat up, and we have warmer temperatures coming up later on this week, as well as some severe weather, strong to severe thunderstorms on the way coming up later on this week as well. As we do zoom things out, we do see some precipitation off towards the north and west. We will stay dry today with some increasing clouds and breezy conditions coming up as well. All right, for today, we do have sunshine to start things off. Increasing clouds coming up, some precipitation tonight, and then once we head towards tomorrow, we'll lose that. And then once we head towards Tuesday morning, some storms passing through, and then some more storms as we head towards Tuesday night. Those will be turning severe. The hourly forecast for today, all right, we're dry with increasing clouds. It will be a warm one with temperatures in the upper 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Well, still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports, and stay tuned for that interview.
All right, don't go away.
Some days start with busted belts and bruised knuckles. But out here, fixing things is just part of the ride. No matter what I'm doing, I have just the right tool close by. From the workshop to the ballpark, it's about making a difference where it counts. From fixing it right to living it fully. Coastal Auto Parts and Milwaukee Packout Systems help me get to the moments that matter most with the people that matter more.
After an accident, you need to protect your future.
Right away, I could tell the insurance company wasn't going to be helpful.
And that's when I called Joe.
The Maine law firm with the experience, resources, and power to get you all the money you deserve.
Joe Bornstein got me more than I expected and faster than I thought possible. I call that success.
Tell the insurance company you mean business. Call Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Accidents happen to be their specialty.
The right dock should fit your shoreline and make life on the water easier, more rewarding, and more fun. When you choose Shoremaster from Hammond Lumber Company, you get all that, along with unmatched strength, versatility, and style. Shoremaster's tool-free Infinity Track system makes adding accessories a breeze. Hammond also offers Polydock floating docks, perfect for deep or fluctuating waters. Transform your waterfront into your personal paradise with a Shoremaster Infinity Dock system or floating Polydock system from Hammond Lumber Company.
Your internet experience feels different, ultra reliable, lightning fast. With Fidium 100% fiber, everything you do online works exactly like it should.
Night, bud.
Zach, go to bed.
So is cable internet still slowing you down? Enough already. Fiber up to Fidium. Get a 2 gig plan for only $65 a month at fidiumfiber.com.
Fox tonight, the Harlem Globetrotters get dunked.
I can't swim. Release the ball.
The Quiz with Balls returns tonight on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. I'm Max Sturm. I'm joined alongside by Adam Gaudreau, the athletic director at Dexter Regional High School. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So we're going to get right into it. Believe it or not, it's been almost a year since you guys in Dexter finished third place in the T-Mobile Friday Night Lights sweepstakes. And that was just a crazy time for you guys. A lot has happened since then. But I want to go back to last year. Just ask you about the event and how insane was it to kind of be a part of that whole thing and see a school in a town so small be recognized on a national level?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty surreal to be honest. You know, when we get the call and said that we were a finalist for the T-Mobile Friday Night Lights sweepstakes, it was like, okay, well, what does that mean? And so they told us that we were one of 25 finalists. We get $25,000 right off the bat for just being part of the competition. That in and of itself was just an amazing celebration just to get the $25,000. And then after day one of the voting, we were in first place. So that just built the excitement among our small community. So we saw the support, we saw the people come out and jump online and put their votes in to support us. And yeah, we ended up third place overall. We didn't win it all, but we did get an extra $50,000 for that third place finish.
Yeah, you mentioned community and support, and I mean, I saw that firsthand going out to the event that you guys held. There's signs all in the windows in town for this event, just supporting, telling people to vote. What was it like to see the community just surround you guys and support you?
Well, I mean, it was just a bunch of excitement in the community. So we're a very prideful community. It shows that we support one another in our small section of Maine. And they just came out in droves to say, hey, we think this is a great opportunity. We see the need. Let's try to make it happen. And we had alumni from all across the country jumping on and voting and sharing their support online. So that just felt really good coming from a small community in Maine.
And the support was really felt. You guys finished in third place. You got $75,000. We'll get to the later investments later on in this show, but with that $75,000, what did that money alone do for the athletics programs over at Dexter?
Well, I mean, our number one goal when we started out and we were, campaigning for support was to put lights on our football field and our athletic facility there. Never had lights in the school's history on that field, so that was our number one priority, and we wanted to see that through. Now that $75,000 was some seed money, helped us get a conceptual design done for a field upgrade, where the poles would have to go, met with Musco Lighting, who we ended up going with and contracting with to order the lights. And so it just helped us get things started, and it helped us springboard into a fundraising campaign. We saw the support when all it cost was a vote. We were hoping that support was there when it cost a little bit more, and it's shown that has been the case.
Yeah, expand on that a little bit, because obviously you guys didn't win the whole thing and get the lights, but you guys are still putting lights in anyway. How did that come to be? What more support did you need from the community?
Sure, you know, $75,000 is a lot of money from the T-Mobile campaign, but it's not enough to put lights in. So we knew that going forward, so we knew we were going to have to do something to raise the rest of the funds. And so we started this fundraising campaign, reaching out to our alumni, reaching out to businesses, local businesses, families and friends to say, hey, can you support us with a little bit of monetary values? So we instituted a donor wall, so we had levels that people could donate and be recognized on our donor wall when this came to fruition. And so with all that being said, we had an end goal of $250,000, which is what we thought it would cost to purchase the lights and install the lights, which is pretty accurate based on current costs and right now. So with that being said, we've pretty much raised the $250,000 to make this happen, and the lights were purchased. They were delivered yesterday, so it was exciting to see that truck roll in from Musco Lighting and the lights being taken off the truck. Holes were drilled yesterday and today. So things are moving and shaking, and we're going to have lights up by the end of July, it looks like.
Yeah, I can't imagine just how excited you are, the student athletes, and the whole community is to finally have some Friday night lights. So you mentioned the end of July is probably when it's going to be done. Will we see Friday night football at Dexter this year for the first time ever?
So I will be honest with you. I've been kind of bullheaded about this. I said we're going to have Friday night lights. We're going to have Friday night games this coming fall, so I made sure that there were Friday night games on our schedule for the fall season.
We are super excited about that. I'm really excited to get out there this fall and cover that and bring it to the Sports Blitz. But right now, though, that's Adam Gaudreau. I'm Max Sturm. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be right back after the break.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Located on Wilson Street in Brewer, Yoshi Japanese Restaurant, where you'll find only the best sushi, Asian favorites, and specialty crafted cocktails that will satisfy anyone. Try tatami seating for an immersive experience. Yoshi Japanese Restaurant, bringing delicious traditions to you.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
There's a new head of admissions at Northern Maine Community College in Presque Isle, whose life story is inspiring.
I had a wonderful mom who instilled in me to work hard, have good work ethic, and she would point out other disabled people to me and say, this person can't speak, but you have a voice. And you have a good brain that God has given you.
We'll hear all about Lisa Olson's journey tonight on Fox 22 News at 10.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we are joined by Janelle Fox, who is the owner of Janelle Bags, which are displayed beautifully right here in front of us. And then we also have Robin Winslow, who's the CEO of Hometown Health Center. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Of course. You guys have a really unique and I think genius event coming up this Saturday, the 18th. Janelle, do you want to start us off and give us a little background about these specific bags and what the event is?
Yes, so we have these bags that I designed here as a fundraiser for the Hometown Health Center, which Robin Winslow is the CEO of. And they are a fundraiser where 25% of the cost of the bag will go straight to the center, and we're very happy to be part of this as we love what Robin has done to bring the center to Newport, and I'll let her talk more about that, but it's a beautiful center that will benefit the community immensely, and we are happy to have something that we can just help with that just a little bit.
Yeah, and Robin, for you, you know, we were talking about the permanent donor wall.
Yeah.
Can you tell me just a little bit about the center in Newport and about, you know, that donor wall that's connected to the purchases from those bags?
So Hometown is a federally qualified health center, 501c3.
Yep.
We're the safety net for the community. Our new facility is over 50,000 square feet. It has medical services, dental, behavioral health.
Okay.
Then it has a wellness center that has a walking trail inside, basketball court, pickleball.
Wow.
Teaching kitchen, food pantry, and also a daycare.
Wow.
On site.
So really, really all-inclusive.
Everything.
Yeah,
yes.
and with that donor wall right in the front, what
As
is
you
it?
walk in, it's a beautiful entranceway, and there's a tall copper wall, and everybody that donates, and honestly, $25 or more, anybody should be recognized because they're giving back to our community.
Absolutely. So they'll be displayed up on that
Yes.
wall, and after, you know, the event, if someone purchases a bag through Janelle, then they will officially be a permanent member up on that wall at the health center.
Yeah.
So that's super cool.
And they have this tangible thing to carry with them that reminds them of what's going on in the community.
Right. Well, we were saying earlier, it's one thing to try to get people to donate, but it's another when you have these beautiful purses right in front of you, and then part of that purchase goes to support you guys. You did tell me too, Janelle, that the Heartland Tannery, there's some connection with that. Do you want to tell me what that entails?
Yes, yes. So these bags are made with the last of the leather. The Heartland Tannery closed in 2020, which was a really sad day for so many people in the community because people had grandparents, aunts, uncles, so many family members that worked there over the years, and with it closing, it was kind of a really, you know, just a sad day for Heartland.
Sure.
And I feel like using that leather to benefit something that is growing and helping the community, it's almost like full circle of that's coming, the history is coming in to really push forward. So the batch of leather that we're using on these bags, you cannot get in any other bags. Also, the designs are only available in these. You cannot buy them in our shop.
Wow.
In any
Okay,
other
so
color.
they're really one of a kind and really symbolic of that
they
tannery.
are.
So, you know, someone who might have ties to that tannery, this would be a great staple to go and check out. And like you said, one of a kind. We have 3 different options here. So, yeah, this is really neat.
And they all have a very subtle Hometown Health logo on the side.
Yeah.
So it kind of just is.
That's
so
that's
classic.
perfect.
Yes.
They're beautiful. Well, before we run out of time, what is a link to your healthcare center? Where can people find more information about that website, social media?
Hometownhealthcenter.org.
Okay, and for you with your bags and your company?
It's JanelleBags.com.
Okay, you do have a Facebook as well, correct?
Yes,
we do
and
too.
Instagram.
Wonderful. Well, ladies, thank you so much, and I wish you really, really good luck this coming Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to turn things back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. A heat advisory up until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. Not only do we have warm temperatures, but the higher humidity levels will make feels-like temperatures feel close to 100 degrees or so at times. We also have a small craft advisory advisory up until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Wednesday along the coast. For now, we're calm out there, and I mean very calm. Wave heights not too bad at all this morning. Meanwhile, we do have some clouds that are passing through this morning. We'll have increasing clouds as we do have a boundary that will be approaching soon, and that will help to get some rain showers and a few rumbles of thunder that will be developing coming up soon. But again, it's tomorrow. We do have to keep our eye on for strong to severe thunderstorms late afternoon and the parts of the evening time frame. All right, Futurecast, we do have increasing clouds for us today. Later on tonight, we do have some rain showers and a few rumbles of thunder on the way. And then for tomorrow, here's what we have our eye on. A morning chance for a storm or two. And then once we head towards the evening period, that's where the strong to severe storms will begin to pass through. All right, here's that threat. We have an enhanced risk for strong to severe storms. And then that threat drops off just a little bit, but still a slight risk. Either way, though, we have large hail, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes possible as we head into your Tuesday, primarily as we head towards late Tuesday afternoon and in the evening time frame. We need to be watching this closely as we head into your Tuesday. All right, we have plenty of moisture to work with too as we do push forward. Look at this through Tuesday. Dew points rising into the 70s, pushing forward. So for today, increasing clouds and breezy, upper 80s for the high, and that southwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. By tonight, mid-60s, mostly cloudy, a chance for thunderstorms with the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a chance for strong to severe thunderstorms late. Again, low 90s for the high, and that southwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. All righty, let's check out your extended forecast. Wednesday, a lot better, mostly sunny, highs in the mid-80s. More thunderstorms Thursday, highs in the low 80s. And then for your Friday, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 70s.
Purple Co is open and here to stay. Come join a growing community of like-minded people with monthly events, arts and concerts, daily deals, and the best products and prices in the state. Plus, don't miss Purple Co Bangor's annual party on 4/18. Now with 4 locations from Portland to Bangor. Come check us out today.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
At Spectrum, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between speed, reliability, and value. That's why Spectrum fiber-powered internet gives you all 3 for just $40 a month. No contract, no commitment. And set up your internet in under 10 minutes. Spectrum fiber-powered internet delivers the most reliable internet for everything you do at home. Streaming, gaming, and connecting. Switch today and get Spectrum fiber-powered internet for just $40 a month. Call now or go online.
Did you know Susan Collins was the deciding vote for Donald Trump's Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade? And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. Because of Susan Collins, states are banning abortion with no exceptions for rape or incest. And women are dying. And she's still standing by it.
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins, stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
Purple Co is open and here to stay. Come join a growing community of like-minded people with monthly events, arts and concerts, daily deals, and the best products and prices in the state. Plus, don't miss Purple Co Bangor's annual party on 4/18. Now with 4 locations from Portland to Bangor. Come check us out today.
Well, we hate to end the news on a bad note, but we've learned some sad news from Southern Maine. Our sister station, WGME, is reporting that 1 person is dead following a shooting involving ICE agents. It happened in Biddeford on Poole Street down there. We don't know much about it, but we know ICE has been continuing with some of their raids and rounding up some people. And apparently there was an altercation there this morning. We don't know the details.
Many details. It says Maine State Police are on the scene gathering details, as well as the FBI's looking into that investigation as well. But I'm assuming our media partners have a crew going down there to learn more.
Always a controversial thing. Of course, they had that controversial one that happened in Houston about a week ago where a man was shot by ICE agents. So I'm sure we'll be hearing much more about that as the day rolls along.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning. But as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a good day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, you know her from Superstore, a show described as too real to be funny.